Hello and welcome back. This is our third video in a series. I'm Dr. Maureen Hayes from Galveston, Texas, and I'm here with two of my colleagues, Dr. Lee Osler from Richland, Washington, and Dr. Bill Williams from Atlanta, Georgia. And we have been talking about something that we think of as a message of hope and help, especially in these trying times, and reaching out to our other medical professional fellows and anyone else who's been greatly impacted by this. We've talked a little bit about a breakthrough technology that we've been introduced to and why that science is so important, especially now. And would like to talk a little bit about how this can also impact your financial health. I'd like to bring on Dr. Bill Williams, who is a genius at multiple streams of income and has actually written a number of books helping people, especially in the dental field, create massive incomes, and just recently wrote an article in The Profitable Dentist about having a side gig. Dr. Bill, yeah, there it is. Fantastic. Dr. Bill, if you'll come on and talk a little bit about side gigs and making your side gig your main gig and why it's so important, especially now. Thank you.
You know, I teach a lot of dentists how to be successful. And one thing I taught them was they need to have a slight edge. And right now we need a big edge, because a slight edge is not enough. You know, we're not dentists anymore. Right now, we're stuck in a place, Lee calls it the twilight zone of dentistry. We've actually been called to stay home to help fight the issues of worldwide pandemic. And so we're glad to do our part, but we're actually suffering by staying home. We don't have any income either. So those of us who are just dentists are in trouble. Those of us that already have a side gig are not in as big a trouble. And that's the message today. Is we're talking about the business of creating income for your family. You know, we know the health benefits. We covered that in the last video. And every single person should be on the product for their health, for their immune defense. But that's not the issue today. The issue today is everybody should be participating, if they want to create an income that's independent of dental practice, of independent of your business, your career, the job that you used to go to that you can't go to right now. You could do this from your home this week. You could start now, today, and you could actually create an income this week. And then we're going to show you that today, how you can actually start having an income today. The world as we know it has changed. Joel Barker, the futurist that Lee mentioned earlier, said that when the paradigm shifts, everybody starts back at zero. And this is 0 day for a lot of you. You know, you got to make a decision. Where is your income going to come from if you're going to not rely on just that government handout, which will be a help, but it's not enough to live off of. So it's time to reinvent yourself and to reinvest in yourself. And we've got a good answer for you. We've got a good point of view that we think can help every single person, the dental assistant, dental hygienist, the doctors, even the people that work in the pizza parlor. This is something that's good for everybody, not just professional persons. So we want to help you develop an immunity over the bumps and the lumps in society in the economic terms, not just the immunity to the diseases that are floating in the air. So years ago, I wrote a book called The $10,000 a Day Dentist, and it was because I shared with my colleagues how every day can be a perfect day. There are 50 ways to create a highly successful practice, and I identified the 50 things that I thought about, I did, or I believed in that created a day being good. And then I just said, if you could just repeat that day one more time, you ended up with a pretty good month. And so the idea here is if you can do a series of steps, of known steps to repeat, then you can be successful in the business of referring people to a health product that will improve their immunity, that will improve their overall body ability to withstand the stress of life. So I want to commend Dr. Osler for really putting together a system, and Dr. Maureen Hayes for putting together a system that involves us doing routine, repetitive procedures every day that lead to having financial health and strength. We're going to explain that today. There's a system, and that's the whole point, is all you have to do is follow the system to be successful. That's what I did to create $10,000 a day in my dental practice for 15 years straight, I've been over that number. I believe that if you follow the prescription that is given you by somebody who's already done it, then it's probably possible that you could do it too. That's our message. So Lee and Maureen, take over now and let's explain a little bit more about Plan B as we see it for the future for people who want to get involved.
Thank you, Bill. I love what you shared. And, you know, I've often heard it said, if you can bake a dozen cookies, you can bake a dozen cookies, right? So it's kind of getting that system into place and learning the things, the steps that you need to take. This is the business that we have found ourselves involved in is very, very powerful. We all came into this or were introduced to it because of a personal reason and then saw the value of sharing it with other people who could benefit as well. Because as we said in that last video, the health benefits are incredible. And it's a supplement that is 100% non-toxic that benefits everybody who takes it, whether they feel that or not. It's working at the cellular level to benefit people. But it's become we've all become acutely aware of the need to have a plan B, as you say, or a side gig. And Dr. Lee Osler, if you wouldn't mind coming on, because you have studied this, and before this ever happened, it was almost prophetic. You started thinking about this and putting it together and talking about why this is so necessary and how many people truly were not prepared for retirement, let alone something like this that brought your practices to a grinding halt. Dr. Bill, you have always said you guys are one broken wrist away from losing your income. Who would have thought that you could be shut down like this? Dr. Lee, if you would come on and kind of share with us what you've put together, I think that would really help people. Thank you.
I'd be happy to do that. And I really appreciate Dr. Bill's breath of fresh air and how he contexts this and places it all in context. If I could, I'm going to share my screen and hopefully this will come up. We put together an article, and this can be seen at backupplanasset.com. But on this chart, there's some interesting questions, and I think the paradigm shift that we alluded to in a previous video is really what this is about. It's like, what is your backup plan? We are one broken wrist, we're one heart attack, we're one stroke, we're one governor's stroke of the pen away from great changes in how we produce income. And so to answer the question of, well, gee, I'm a health professional, I'm a doctor, or I'm a whatever, stockbroker, I make a lot of money and I don't need anything on the side. And it's like, if you haven't understood now personally or through your family the importance of changing your mind about that, I don't know what's going to get through to you. And so that's part of who we're appealing to here. The asset equivalent chart that you'll see on backupplanasset.com is an instructive one because you can find yourself in this. For example, we do whatever we do so that we can put money aside in some kind of a retirement vehicle so that at some point we can quit putting money in it and we can start drawing money away from it and we can go walk on the beach or fly around the country or be with our grandkids or do whatever it is that we want to spend our time doing, which requires X amount of dollars per month coming from somewhere to do that. This is a simplistic presentation in the sense that obviously your money is going to come from hopefully multiple sources, whether it's Social Security or IRAs or CDs or whatever. But the point here is to look at this chart and see yourself in it. I'm going to scroll down here to the second chart. The point here is you'll see here in the right column, $10,000 per month. This is the amount of money coming in, and you would have $10,000 a month coming in if you had $2 million in the bank earning 6% interest. If you were only earning 3% interest, you would require $400,000 in the bank at 3% to generate $10,000 per month. You can walk over here and say, well, all I need is $5,000 a month. To have $5,000 a month at 6% interest, you need $100,000 or $1 million in the bank. So whatever it is, you plug your own numbers in based on what lifestyle you want. You can see in this chart the amount of money that you're going to have on deposit in some retirement vehicle at a specified interest rate. The other thing is, if you can look at this and say, well, right now, my retirement portfolio, for example, is $240,000 and I'm only earning 2% interest, that means I'm going to earn $4,000 a month if I had to cash in on that right now. If I'm really optimistic and think I can get 6% interest on my return, all I need is $800,000 in the bank at 6% to generate $4,000 a month. So the point here is, you look at this little academic exercise, you can plug yourself and your own numbers that you know into this and say, what is it that I need per month to live on? What do I anticipate or expect that my interest return can be? And how much money do I have on deposit in whatever vehicle that I have that I could draw on, assuming it's liquid? So the point here is, you think of it in the reverse now and say, what if? What if I did something as a side gig? What if I was mowing lawns, or was a real estate representative, or was day trading, or I was an author selling books on Amazon or whatever? The question is, if I could do whatever it is I was doing and have $10,000 a month coming into my bank account every month because of those activities, it would be the same as having $2 million in the bank earning 6% interest. So now the question is, okay, the traditional route, it takes me 30 years. I'll give people maybe more benefit for credit there and say maybe it only took them 20 years, but somewhere between 20 and 30 or 40 years to accumulate set amount of 2 million or 3 million or 1 million or whatever it is you're going to wind up with, hopefully. It will take that long based on rules of investing and tax things and so forth. But what if you could do something on the side? What if you could do something that would begin to generate even just $1,000 a month or $800 a month? At 6% interest, $1,000 a month is the same as having $200,000 in the bank. And the question would be, right now, doing what you're doing, which right now for us is nothing, but assuming you were up to speed, how long would it take after taxes for you to accumulate an additional $200,000 for which you could earn 6% and create a cash flow of $1,000 a month? That's really the heart of this. And so what we're proposing in this is a vehicle that is selling into the market, that is in demand because of what's going on about us, that would have the ability to generate a residual leveraged monthly income flow. You put the number in, whatever you want. It's the same as spending all of those years accumulating something in a traditional way. But what if you could do that in a year? What if you could do that in 2 years? What if you could do that in 5 years? How long would it take you to put an extra $1 million or $2 million away that could earn 6% interest and generate $5,000 to $10,000 a month? Now, we're not saying that that's what you're going to generate, but this is a somewhat hypothetical model that shows the power of this asset equivalence. And the point here is down here, and you'll read this in the report, the rule of 72. I've talked with stockbrokers who say that if you're 35, 45, 50, and I get there's a lot of variables with that, but if you're already there and you haven't got your retirement figured out, it's too late. And the reason why is because the rule of 72 does not allow you enough time for your money to double in a compound interest investment vehicle so that you can one day stop and start drawing the interest off without touching the principal. And so what we're going to talk about in the next few minutes is a way to leverage yourself through a compounding of a generational leveraging. That's the business vehicle that what we're selling into the marketplace accomplishes. I hope that wasn't too esoteric, but when you see yourself in that chart, go to backupplanasset.com and look for yourself. Put your numbers in the graph. And I realize there's a lot of variables because maybe you're better at investing. Maybe you've got better timing in the marketplace. I don't know. Everybody's at a different place. But just find yourself in there, and then you can see that you just don't have enough. You'll have to either change your lifestyle, you'll have to live on less, or you've got to find another vehicle, I should say, or you need to find another vehicle that begin generating additional income that would be your side gig, your side hustle, whatever you want to call it.
One of the things I know
I
from
think of-
working with a lot of different dentists, Lee, no, nobody thinks that a dentist doesn't have it made out there. I mean, if you look at the general public, they think we're all rich. We won life's lottery. Same with physicians. But the truth is, we know from being the consultant and the coach for many dentists that far too many dentists don't have that nest egg secure by the time the rule of 72 is already in play. And so there's no way they can live off the savings they've made. And they do have to do something. And most of the time, the dentists have always thought, I'm just going to work until I die. That's the answer to their dilemma of not having enough to live off of. They have already decided they'll work till 75, 80, 85 because they don't have anything saved up. And so what we're proposing, as you say, is a way to create the nest egg on a residual income basis that flows without having to have it already in the bank.
That's a great explanation. And I don't know about dentists, but I do know a lot of dentists get what we call, physicians get what we call the golden handcuffs, where especially when you're in training for so many years and you're deprived and you're sacrificing, working 110, 120 hours a week, you feel like you deserve the prize, when you get out and you first start making money. And it's often not as much money as people think. There are a lot of physicians who have great, and probably dentists as well, who have magnificent incomes, but they've worked very hard for that. But we have a tendency to spend it as well and have, larger lifestyles, maybe because people feel like they deserve that. And often people can't stop working because they have to continue to pay for those things that they've over leveraged themselves for. So things are not always as they seem. But I love what you guys are saying. And I want to say that the best time to do this, we find ourselves in a very strange situation right now where people's practices are being shuttered. But the best time to do this is when you don't need it. It's great. We can help you to develop an income right now. If you're willing to join us, if you're willing to get out there and serve other people, especially in a time of need like this, we can help you develop this income right now. It will take time to make it residual, but it will become residual. I have a residual income because I've been doing this for 7 years. It doesn't take a full 7 years for it to become residual, but every year that I do this, more and more of my income becomes residual, so that if I stopped or I walked away or I go on vacation, those checks keep coming, and they will continue to keep coming. And they will grow larger and larger the more people we impact with this life-changing technology. And so right now, if you find yourself in need of another income, please speak to one of us or speak to the person who sent you to watch this video, and we can discuss more about how we can make that happen or help you make that happen for you and your family, and how we can help you make that residual over time. Now, Bill, if you don't mind talking about the difference between sharing the product, kind of having a customer base versus building a network, which is kind of like a franchise base. Can you speak a little bit about the difference on those two things and what we're doing here?
Yes, one thought came to mind as you were speaking too, that it's not about being there first and everybody else loses. Somebody came to mind this last week. We were talking to them, and they built this business model to be successful for themselves in just 4 or 5 months, to be equally as successful as you built yours in 7 years. If that's possible for them, it's possible for anybody. It's just a matter of your work ethic and your degree of your tenacity to stick with it. And so one of the values that we have is people that have a vision and have perseverance and know how to follow the system. It is a system. You connect people together, and when people are connected together, they learn together. And you're not doing retail sales to make this work. You're not doing wholesale sales to make this work. What you're doing is you're training people to be communicators. And so what we do, and this is why I like it so much, is I'm a health educator. I've always been a health educator. I started back in 1981 with my first lecture in First Chiropractic District of Atlanta. I was speaking to chiropractors about TMJ. And then in 1983, I did my first lecture internationally up in Toronto, Canada on TMJ and orthodontics. And so teaching health has always been something I've been interested in. And this is an extension of teaching people how to understand how to make their bodies healthier. And if you can do that, you can make this successful. And you have to basically just open the door and let people walk in. It's a network of people who believe that there's a better answer. And so it's not sales. It's basically communication and teaching people how to teach people, if that makes sense.
I'd like to just segue on that and just emphasize the horizontal versus vertical nature of this. There's no way anybody is going to get rich or make a lot of money selling things one at a time. There's a limit there. It's time dependent and it's people dependent. And so the leverage that this type of an industry offers is the ability to get out of that transactional one-on-one thing. And as I share information that is then shared again, that is then shared again, which goes back to my comment from an earlier video that we did, the FDA does not allow us to make claims. We can't talk about disease process, or we can't talk about specific diseases and so forth, but we can tell and share stories. This is education. And the important part is that we don't have to invent all of the, or create all of the educational materials. Those are done for us. And so it's so easy. That's one of the benefits of this.
You know, absolutely. And I think what we're trying to do with this 3-part series is to let people know that there is something out there. There is something that can help them right now and give them hope for their future. And that 3 people who have spent their lives studying and working hard in a service that benefits other people with their health and lifestyle. We've taken a look at this, as have thousands of other healthcare professionals. Excuse me, we have MDs, RNs, dentists, chiropractors, you name it, who are all involved. And people who are not healthcare professionals, everybody from teachers to hairstylists to every walk of life, realtors, anything you can think of. People who care about other people have joined us. And I love what you guys have shared, because there is a system in place. And if you find this valuable for yourself and for other people, and can think of people who would benefit from this, then you can join our mission to get the information out to people and to help people have a better quality of health and a better quality of life. And so we will probably do more videos kind of giving the specifics on how to get started with us and what that entails and what you need to do to have the income, like Dr. Lee was doing, where if you need an extra $5,000 a month, $10,000 a month, or maybe just $500 a month. That's up to you. We're here to help you make that a reality. So I want to thank you again for tuning in. Hopefully there will be more videos coming. So please reach out either to the person who sent you here or referred you to this, or sent you this video to watch for more information, or go to redoxdentistry.com. And again, Dr. Lee, your website that they can plug their numbers in.
Backuplanasset.com.
Backuplanasset.com. Thank you so much for putting that together. And thank you all for watching. We're here to help. We're struggling with this just like everybody else, especially Dr. Lee and Dr. Bill, who have had their practices shuttered, as have all of our dental friends across the nation and probably across the world. So if you know somebody who needs to hear this information, please share. Thank you so much.